Like a herd of turtles.
Congratulations. Once again, you have found access to the live stream of the Starfall Collective Jade Odyssey, you beautiful, industrious, and resourceful listeners. I am your Dungeon Master, Josh Suich, and I am thrilled to be playing some D&D with my good friends. If you would, please introduce yourself and tell us which character you're playing tonight, starting with you, Matt.
Hello, my name is Matthew Talamini. I'm a writer and web developer based in Providence, Rhode Island, and you can find my stuff at MatthewTalamini.com. That's Matthew, TALAMINI.com. I play the elven sorcerer, Crocular, and yeah, that's me. I'm a freak, a real freaky guy.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly an eccentric and artistic soul, for sure. We'll give you that. Dwight, would you introduce yourself and tell us who you're playing tonight?
Hey, I'm Inion Tumley. I am a wood elf archer, and I am laconic.
Indeed, through and through. LT.
Hey, I'm LT. I'm playing Jim. He's a very regular guy who got a real bad case of wild magic.
Nice.
Magically irregular and volatile. Jared.
Hey, my name's Jared. I am playing Ivan, who is a somewhat old man with bygones that he is not letting be bygones.
And Jacob.
Hey, I am Jacob Burbridge. I'm the son of last season's DM, and I am playing Poe, who is a tiefling monk.
Just gonna keep rubbing that nepotism card in our faces, eh? That's fair. That's okay. I
It's
would
not
too.
my fault that I was provincially born.
That's just it's true. I shouldn't hold it against you. So, when last we played, our party was tasked with the retrieval of a particular codex. Can anyone tell me which codex that was?
The Veiled Vile
The
Volume.
very voluminous varmint.
LT got it in.
Jim's
That was some
pretty
lovely
normal.
embellishment, but yes, it was the Veiled Vile Volume. And who wanted that book and for what purposes? One at a
Well, our
time.
therapist wanted it, and he
Okay,
seems
there
to
we go.
want it rather urgently. Rock, but he didn't really say why in a way that I understood, just that it was extremely urgent.
So what was conveyed to you was that Rock is attempting to put the puzzle pieces together. Why and how? Why, who knows the mind of evil, but how, particularly, Karen was able to get her tinder hooks into you guys, how she was able to locate and so effectively interfere dreams that you were participating in the main Dreamscape therapeutic device, the nursery. The nursery was supposed to be a place that was just categorically inaccessible to Karen because it was a inverted pocket plane of the Dreamscape, and yet she managed to find you there. So the Veiled Vile Volume is a collection of the known rituals and practices and of Karen and her Karenite dark clerics and followers and whatnot. And so hopefully by studying the volume, Rock will find some kind of clue as to how Karen was able to accomplish this.
This is some gain of function stuff.
So the person who sent you to collect did mention that briefly, but it was probably NPCs were yelling at you. It was a moment of extreme urgency, so you can be forgiven for not recalling the dossier. All of you made your way with the help of a crystal that was imparted to you that would give you access to some of the lower levels where the library is. You gained access to the library, and you managed to run into a Ratkin fellow who was in the custodial staff. He was trying to deal with a leak in the ceiling. Poe showed great kindness and respect and deference, and this Ratkin fellow went full Dobby on. Began praising Poe for his magnanimous kindness and generosity. Actually, literally tried to take the shirt off of his back, but ended up giving him a volume monk training augmentation. It was, P Piddly Pam and the, 1,000 or some such nonsense like that. A
It was
tale
just a
of
One Punch manga. It was just a One Punch manga.
a halfling monk and the tales of his adventures. But presumably by studying the in your course of studies as a monk. After running into this figure,
100 push-ups.
That's right. 1,000 push-ups every day. Get pushing. After you ran into this Ratkin, you were told by him to seek out another figure down the in the neck of the library. Does anybody remember who they were looking for and who you found yourselves facing the back of at the end of the last session?
It was a Goliath, but I don't remember his name.
Indeed.
Did we know his name?
Gilbert the Goliath?
No.
Gilbert Drake.
It was Drake. You were told to seek out Goliath. That he was doing some studies and that he would have a much better sense of where you could find the librarian. So, after going downstairs and following kind of the mirror of, well, not mirror, but the identical layout from upstairs, you made it to effectively underneath you one level. Where there is indeed a over 7-foot tall Goliath hunched over a table, turning pages, studying large volumes of genealogy. You see that he has several large scrolls, bottles of ink, some quills, notes scribbled on a number of things, and he is so engrossed in his studies that he has not yet met all of you standing about 30, 40 feet behind him. I present to you the scene.
Mr. Drake.
Hmm? You see a large, shaved, bald head look up. His light slate gray skin tattooed with several dark blue tattoos that, as you know, a lot of these Goliaths have giant script runes and little bits of their family history tattooed upon their. He turns and stands up from his seat at the table and bows to you shallowly. And greetings, I am Drake. How may I help you?
Poe reciprocates the bow.
Oh, yes. Very good.
You.
We were sent by Brick and Rock to bring them the Veiled Vial volume.
You see Drake lifts up to his lips and kind of looks left, looks right. He kind of steps out of the study room that he's in, and he begins looking down the stacks and beckons all of you to come into where he is studying.
I'm going in.
Same.
Once everyone enters the room, he slides a door shut and turns to all of you and says, "Such evil things should not be spoken of lightly. You say Brick has sent you to fetch this?" And you see his eyebrow go up. he is seriously doubting the veracity of this tale that you were spinning for him.
Crocular, the crystal, please. Show it to Mr. Drake.
I step forward and proffer the crystal. Are bona fides?
Forgive me for this, but... And you see him kind of wave a hand. Yourselves under the effects of a zone of truth. Everyone, please roll me a wisdom saving throw.
Ivan does not resist.
Okay. Ivan
8.
chooses to give in to it.
I rolled a 4, so I can't choose to resist. Just saying the
17.
truth here.
17 for Enion.
Mhm.
17 for Crocular as well.
Okay.
Poe waves back friendly.
Enion, whether you
You choose to reveal it or not,
you are not under the effects of this spell. Poe and forgive me, Jared, what's your character's name again? Ivan. Poe and Ivan, you are. He turns to you and says, he turns to you, Crocular, and says, "Who gave this to you?"
Rock?
He knows you have it, and you to use it to
gain
access to
the
the
specs.
to the library.
He asked us to retrieve the volume of which we speak?
And you plan to what? Use night to retrieve it?
Yes.
Something.
Will survive. Do you even know where in the library this volume is located?
That's why we're asking you, actually.
What he said.
Is there some sort of emergency such that Brick and Rock themselves could not come?
Well, they're busy fixing the RuneScape after Karen invaded, which I believe is tied to them needing the... I actually forgot what the book was called. Whatever
It's
the
an
book was.
ongoing
volume.
emergency?
The volume.
They want to find some dark secrets about how Cairn got into the dreamscape. That sounds like beyond them to me. Is there anybody in here who could handle that?
When you say that seems beyond them, begins laughing a really deep and mirthful laugh, and he says, "You would be surprised at the things that are not beyond Brick and Rock when they set their minds to it. Rock is a powerful academic mind, and Brick, he is a good soul, a truly good soul." Forgive me. You asked question, and I am rambling on. Ask again. You asked him a question, Ivan?
Oh, I don't suppose I would ask it again though. I had asked because it seems like they're not fit to do that. Is there anybody in here who you think could handle it without unleashing horrible dangers?
Without unleashing horrible dangers, no. To open the book at all, to speak of it, is to stir the waters of deep evil. But if they have sent you, they must have sent you for a reason. And if they wish to open the volume, they must an even better reason. If we are to retrieve it, it will require more than you have right now. You will need protection. You will need weapons. Come with me.
Weapons? What?
Okay, now that sounds good.
I like weapons.
I do not like weapons.
I am truly What do you have against being armed? What are you, pacifist?
What if I drop it and I cut my foot? That would be very bad.
Does
Just
anyone
don't
have...
drop it. Or have feet.
I'll try
either
not
one.
to drop it. I'll try not to drop it.
Just give me an extra big one for the,
That
give me
sounds
two
good.
two people's
Give
worth
him
of
2
weapons.
X's.
Fair enough, fair enough. Swear to me that if I will assist you in this, that you will communicate to Brick and to Rock that I did so under the true faith and under the spell to discern the truth, that I do this, believing and knowing that it is their wish for you to be the ones to retrieve, yes?
We will tell them that
course.
you acted in good faith.
All right, come with me. How many times have you all been in the stacks before?
Never.
0.
You see, as soon as you guys all say never, 0, I haven't, he just kind of freezes and turns and looks at all of you and says, perhaps there is... You've never been into this. Okay, everybody sit down. He sits you down at the table, and you see him cast minor illusion, creating a series of images. The stacks are a treacherous place, but a useful one for a facility such as this. It is an ancient entity, one that we believe was started as a commingling of academic resources with the towers between the great councils. Some say it was an invention of Mordenkainen himself. But it is a place that cannot be entered lightly, for it is never the same from time to time you open the door, and to venture into it for any amount of time is to court death. It is full of monsters, traps, dead ends, wizards' hallways that are not the same when you walk down them twice. You need a guide to make it in and out at all, and you need a seasoned guide to spend any amount of time inside. Fortunately for you, yes,
You're talking about library?
it is mine, large man, but it is a sort of common property who belong to the world of arcane knowledge. Fortunately for you, I have a foot in the divine and a foot in the arcane, and I happen to know how to get into this one, here in this facility. Unfortunately, it is the kind of thing I cannot allow the knowledge of to spread, so I'm afraid all of you will need to close your eyes for just a moment.
Ivan closes his.
Jim closes his
Oh,
eyes.
does?
I need everyone to say out loud, my eyes are closed repeatedly. I get the book. Now,
My eyes are closed. My eyes are
Matthew and
My eyes are
Dwight,
closed.
it is up to you whether or not you are telling the truth as you say repeatedly, my eyes are closed, my eyes are closed, my eyes are closed. But all of you are chanting this like some sort of grade school game. You hear his footsteps as he steps away from you, and he pulls a book from the shelf. Crocular, Enion, do either of you try to sneak a peek?
Yes,
Yes.
Crocular is absolutely.
peek sneaky.
When he turns his back, I'm going to cast.
Fireball.
No. What's the name of that spell that I can cast anytime I want?
He's standing
Fire
right there.
cube.
He's totally gonna hear you.
Misty Visions. So I can cast Silent Image just anytime. So I'm putting a silent image of my face with my eyes closed.
Okay.
Or no, just of the top part of my face, so that my mouth, as I say, my eyes are closed, my eyes are closed, my eyes are closed. But there's a silent image in front of here of closed eyes. That
Inian just
I'm
squints.
hoping I can do like a one-way mirror thing where I can see through, but can't. I don't know. I don't know if that's possible.
All right, Enion, you can choose to make me either a stealth, a performance check to try to successfully squint your way through this. All right.
I'm going to use my inspiration just in
Oh.
case this
Oh boy.
doesn't go well. Yep, good thing. 6 and I'll go with the 11.
Very good. Enion, you see this turned his head quickly at one point and looks over at the group of you. He even looks at Crocular, and you see him squint eyes at Crocular, and then he is satisfied. He turns back. You see him select a book, and he pulls down on, rotates forward, and as he steps back, he waves his hand at all of you and says, "You may say something now." And all of these books on the wall begin sinking into the wall, begin folding and organizing themselves, and they form vertical stacks with an arch at the top. And you see a hallway open up with a dusty, cobwebs and rat bone strewn stone floor. A dark hallway with sconces every 15 feet or so. To all of you, it says, "This is a treacherous place. Before we enter, we'll take a bit of a side trek to equip all of you. Fortunately, this library is an ancient one, and one that is equipped with its own delving preparation room. So, come with me." You see him take several steps into the darkness, and you see him illuminated by the dark, flickering torchlights. And once he's made it about 40 feet down the hallway, he turns to the left. You see him trace his fingers in a rune shape on the another door appear, and he clicks it open and steps into the room.
I'm following.
Same.
Me too.
Ivan's grumbling.
once-
This is not going to be good. I do not like the dark, and there's going to be spiders.
You hear Drake's voice say, "Yes, lots of spiders. Truly, lots." Inside the room, you see that there are several suits, not full suits of plate armor, but there are leather armors, studded armors. There are a couple of barrels full of pole arms. You see a few axes on the wall, a few swords. You see a couple of bows with arrows hanging on the wall as well. You see some lengths of rope, some torches, things like that. So effectively, all of you get gear that is comparable to the gear on your character sheets and consider yourselves equipped.
Yay.
I should warn all of you, none of these weapons will be allowed to persist outside of the stacks. So, return them, please. The alternative is that they will merely burst into flames and horribly burn your bodies. Do you understand?
Okay, I'll get somebody else to carry him out for me.
That's funny. He kind of claps you on the back, and you feel several of your vertebrae realign.
Oh, thanks.
It does feel good to hold a... The dream ones just aren't so, as cold in the blade.
You see, he walks over to a wall that has a built-in bookshelf. And there are several vials of different alchemical compounds. You recognize things like alchemical fire and some low-level spells. and you see that he reaches over out of a stack of tubes, and he pulls one out, pops open the top, pulls out a piece of parchment and rolls it open, and you see that it has just a handful of rooms on it. You see a note. He holds it up to where all of you can look over his shoulder and see. He's not trying to keep it from you, but you do see one door back in the down in the bottom left corner that says Highview Sanatorium, and you see that there are a handful of passages that connect. He points his thick finger at one of the rooms a few rooms away, and he says, "This is where several things of this nature are kept. Books of evil and darkness that would library of the Highview Sanatorium, should they be kept there. Fortunately, this is in a branch of the stacks that is quite treacherous at times. And should we maintain our silence and should all of you do exactly as I say, it is very likely we will get in and out without issue. However, I will do my utmost to recover enough of your body to resurrect you. But that is not an excuse to be wrecked. Okay? Everybody in and out alive.
Let's all be very quiet.
Yeah, he kind of looks at all of you. Are we ready? This would be the time if anybody wants to do anything before we embark into the dungeon. Let me know.
Poe would like to raise his hand, sort of almost like a nervous schoolchild asking a question.
You pull.
If while I promise to do my level best to stay quiet and calm, if I do fall in battle, I request that you do not resurrect me, actually. But thank you. I appreciate the gesture.
Crocular's going to demonstrate my silent image spell by like making an image of one of the walls and like moving it forward until it covers up one or more of us, just so that you know this Drake will be able to know what I can do in case like he knows a better way to use that possible like ability to hide us, then we can figure out. I say we can hide behind this. I can make it anywhere, anytime.
This is a good trick. You are a strange little fellow. And he claps you on the back too. This will come in handy. If I do this, point, you make you to hide us from that direction. Yes?
That seems like a good plan.
Okay.
I'm a pair of fire tongs.
You see he draws a large, thick mace from his belt, and he holds it out in the center and says, "Everyone, please indulge. Lay your hand upon the weapon."
I do. Poe does.
You feel a gentle mist fill the room, and you actually begin to feel just the little droplets, little pinprick droplets of water falling on your heads. And he kind of points his face upwards, granted at the ceiling, but there's this misty cloud around you guys. And he says, "Sida, goddess of justice and storms, guide us even in these dark places and protect these travelers of your brother." Is that was that an Aaron Joy that walked by?
Yep, she's here.
Hello, huzzah!
I'll catch her up. Description-y thing.
Sounds good. So all of you have received a blessed D4 in reserve. If something comes up and you need to use that D4 on a D20 roll, feel free to do so. I crave your indulgence. I apologize. Give me like a 2-minute siesta while Jacob is catching Aaron up. I will be right back. I forgive the pause.
How have you been spending your time, Matt?
Aaron has been caught up, as far as I can tell, and yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
I've been doing a little woodworking, I think.
Woodwork?
Think.
Well, I went to try and buy furniture, and I was like, this is all too expensive.
It's true.
And your solution was, I'm going to make it. I love that.
Yeah, and actually, I really enjoy when you're going to do a really nice job on a piece. You have to sand it like 4 times, and then stain it, and then it's like 3 coats of polyurethane, and then you have to buff it after that. You just have to rub the whole thing with different substances, different things, like 10 times, and it's very calming. I built some bookshelves, and it's really nice. Like, you make a really nice surface, just like it's just a nice thing, and then it's just there. It doesn't vanish. It
Been nice for a
stays
long
where you
time.
put it.
Yeah.
You know, that's really nice to hear. I've actually been thinking about going into woodworking for a while now. So that's very nice. Thanks for sharing.
All righty. Everybody ready for an Aaron, do you feel caught up?
I heard that we met the librarian.
You've met an individual named Drake, Goliath.
Okay.
Indeed. Not the rapper, as far as I can tell.
Okay.
Yeah, large fellow, clearly has some magical abilities, and even makes Ivan look like a normal sized guy. I mean, that's not true. Who could? He and Ivan are both, large, muscly fellas. Ivan, how tall are you? Are you particularly tall for a human, or just particularly heavily muscled? Meaty.
He's probably on the tall side. Like over 6 feet. Probably not as tall as me. Less than 6.5.
Who is, man? Who is?
Aaron, we're this horrible, horrible book for brick and rock.
Okay. I remember it from last episode. It had a auditorily ambiguous name.
The Veiled Vile Volume.
Of virulence and virtue and vegetables.
The Veiled Virulently Vile Volume is what it used to be, but they decided to pare it down to 3 V's. So, okay.
It's really
All of you
the volume
have,
of the dictionary.
and you have been outfitted with weapons and armor comparable to what you have on your sheet. So consider yourself to be equal and ready for danger.
Always.
And he
Does she have a
explained
large
that
rat?
I think it's always with her, but that's up to her whether it's visible.
Are we dreaming?
We're not dreaming.
We're actually in the library?
We're in, like, real life.
Okay. Then he's probably like riding around under my hat or on my shoulder or something. Small.
If you die in real life, you die in the dream too. So
I don't know. Any of you are welcome
that's
to.
true. Nobody's
any
gonna
of-
play this character when I'm gone.
Any of you are welcome to slap anyone else to see if you're asleep or awake. I don't know what that'll prove, but it'll be fun to watch. So, whoa. Not IRL. Not in the game. In game. So, Drake has explained to all of you, also Aaron, not to try to take these weapons out of the stacks because they will burst if you do so, and it will not go well. So Drake points to the map, and we have a choice. We must either go through or one very large one. The smaller rooms will more likely be quiet. The larger rooms are more likely to have passages. It is unwise to assume that there will never be a new passage, and it is unwise to take a door that you do not know. There could be great treasure within, or you could open a door to a plane of or the private study of a malevolent lich. It is a bit of a crapshoot, if you ask me. But keep your eyes peeled. There is treasure to be had. Monsters that like guarding it. So, up to you. I like to say always about like 1 in 20 chance it's a mimic. You know, everything in here, always small chance it's a mimic. Just be careful. What am I saying? I'm not tomorrow.
Poe is going to grip his staff a bit closer and whisper, "Are you a mimic? Because you have to tell us if you are. Because
that's
no,
good.
Can't just ask us questions.
No, that's good. He kind of walks over behind Poe and puts his hands on either one of Poe's shoulders, and he's like, "This is good attitude to have. This will keep you alive. Okay? Always asking questions. Speaking of which, no more questions. We adventure."
Quiet
Dr-
rooms.
Inian
Definitely
takes
quiet
his
rooms.
Inian takes his dagger and just pokes him just a little bit. Poke.
Poe leans in and whispers, "I don't think you're a mimic."
That's
To
good
Inian?
instinct.
To anyone,
Good,
yeah.
good deduction. So Drake over at Jim and says, "Please,
How does Drake
please."
How does Drake respond to being poked by a dagger?
He doesn't. He just kind of looks down at it and looks at you, and then looks over at LT and says, "3 small rooms. You speak for group?" He speaks for
I think
group.
so.
3 small. Let us go. You see him step out into the hallway and continuing further down the way that you guys went, and you come into a study room that is about 8 by 20 feet. You see that the walls are stacks of books. On one of the walls, there are a series of maps that are all kind of hanging one in front of the other. You'd have to kind of pull down and let it roll up to see them. But you see several astrological charts on these maps. And at the very last one is a large, crude map of the land. Probably one whose resolution you've seen before, roughly. But there do appear to be a lot of fish in the water off the coast. And it appears that this is a map made from long ago. You recognize that there used to be a great deal of fishing and a thriving culture off the coast there, and it has long since passed.
I would like to cast Mage Hand and start. Are there books behind the maps? Or can I
You haven't seen the wall yet.
Okay.
You just see that they're kind of tiered
Mhm.
a little bit. So that's what you've been able to see so far.
Yeah, I'd like to cast Mage Hand and kind of pull the maps up to see if I can see if there's books behind them, because I'm looking for the Veiled Vial volume.
Okay. Yeah, so you lift up the maps with Mage Hand. Swarm of moths come flapping out that kind of kick up a bunch of dust, and you see several spiders suddenly kind of scurry out of the shadows quickly in different directions. A couple of them reach out and shoot webs out. You see a couple of moths get caught and pulled in, and you see the spiders begin violently twisting in their silk. But behind the maps is stone. You see stone wall behind the maps.
Mr. Drake, do you think it's going to be in this room, the volume that we're looking for?
No. We will need to
Oh.
pass through these 3 rooms.
Oh, okay.
And might I suggest there is very little juice for the squeeze, sending Mage Hand around poking in corners. The quieter we keep and the less we touch, the better.
Okay.
He
My eyes are
moves
closed,
forward.
my eyes are closed.
What's that? Your eyes are closed?
Ivan is
Still?
muttering softly. My eyes are closed. My eyes are closed. My eyes are closed. As he just
sorry.
keeps his head down and follows.
Did I overdo spell? And he like does this movement. Did I overdo it? You okay? He's Drake is worried that he's somehow confounded you.
Huh?
You're a good man.
I look around to see if there are any books that would be of interest to me.
Okay. Roll me a perception check.
$15.
Excellent. You do. You find a book of, it says, Strange and Scintillating. The title immediately catches your eye, and you almost feel drawn to it. It is a book about seeing beauty through the planar constructs of various different planar realities that the land is subjected to. Something that would be absolute dry reading for anyone else, but a real page turner for you.
That's perfect. I grab it off the shelf, and I, tapping Drake on the shoulder, I say, "Can I check this out?"
You hand the book to him, and you feel kind of a spasm in your hand as you let go of it, as you hand it to him, and you kind of massage your hand a little bit, and it kind of goes away. Your hand felt a little tingly, but he looks at it and kind of flips it over and nods to you, shrugs his shoulders, and hands it back to you and says, "Take it up with Brick. I am not your mother."
As I take it up again, do I feel anything strange, or is there any offensive magic towards me on this?
No. The book feels good in your hand. Like as you hold the book in your hand, it feels very secure, like it belongs there.
Poe's going to lean into Crocular and say, I personally wouldn't touch any more books. They're generally for smarter people. So, like Brick or Rock. So,
Like me? I'm much smarter than Brick and Rock?
again, they're usually for smarter people than us, like Brick and Rock. And then he's going to walk off.
Please, be quiet. We're supposed to be going quietly through these rooms. Can we move on, please?
Again, we're not the smartest. Sorry.
Inian walks over and pokes the book in Crocular's
no.
hand.
Inion, make me a perception check.
10.
Crocular's holding the book, man. I don't know what to tell you. You've picked a very mundane fact of reality to inspect. It's just a dude with a book.
I poke it. I poke it with my knife.
You poke the book with your knife?
Yeah.
Roll me an attack.
Okay.
DC 14
How's a 21 to hit?
is my AC.
You know what?
Does a 21 hit it?
Not only does a 21 hit, roll me a luck check.
22. Sorry. I
Roll
did
me a
bad
luck
math.
check.
What is that? Just a D20?
Just roll a d20 and tell me how you do.
2.
Okay, great.
Should I roll
You,
initiative now or just wait a little bit?
what's that?
Should I roll initiative now or just wait a little bit?
No,
Jim
you're
is
fine.
silently panicking.
Yeah, so Enion, you take your knife and you go to stab at the book, and Crocular, you are not thrilled at an instinctual level at the idea of Enion stabbing this book. So you got to jerk your hand out of the way, and Enion, you slice Crocular's fingers clean off. And
No.
Crocular, as you're sitting there, you yank the hand away, the book drops to the ground, and you're kind of rubbing your hand, and this yellow-green kind of goo peels off, and you're looking at a hand with 4 fingers and a thumb, that place on the outside edge of your hand where it looks like something had latched on and anchored itself to your hand, and you look down on the ground and you see a little finger beginning to crawl away like an inchworm, and it kind of turns and pokes its little fingery face up at all of you and hisses and begins inching away between a stack of books.
Crocular,
Everybody,
welcome.
let's keep
Are you a
Blades
mimic?
away from Crocular.
Do I lose any hit points?
No. Because the thing that was stabbed was the little
Finger
guy.
monster.
So yeah, the
Poe is
finger
going
mimic.
to
No, but like
lean
when
in
it,
close.
I'm
and go for
missing
the
a
stab.
finger
Huh?
now.
No,
No, you have.
When you reached up for the book, a finger mimic attached itself to your hand, unbeknownst to you. Enion just rolled really high to stab and rolled exactly, within that range of a DC 5 and below to stab the finger. If he had rolled high, he would have stabbed your hand. If he had stabbed in the middle, he would have stabbed the book. But he rolled really low, so he actually just severed this thing. He inadvertently back to me, so you can thank him later.
Thanks for killing that monster. I grabbed the book.
Very good. Drake leads you all into the next room, but before going, lifts up a finger and motions for all of you to be silent. He kind of points in the corner, and you see there is a large cushioned chair with large green velvety cushions and a lot of gold filigree. And he points at that chair and says, "I do not remember a chair being in here last time. I suspect there may be a mimic infestation in this place, given the finger and now this chair. Try to creep past, yes? Quiet. No sudden movements. Don't look at it directly, and it will hopefully not know we have discovered it." You see Drake kind of tip, and he walks through the room, and you see him kind of stub his toe on a book near the chair, and it kind of skitters over next to the chair. And you see nothing happens, and he just kind of exhales and walks on by, and then motions for all of you to come past.
Come on. Come on, guys.
Okay.
I follow.
I'm following quietly as I can.
Everybody make me stealth checks.
Oh, excellent. I
8.
am going to use
16.
I'm going
18.
to use Tides of Chaos to reroll that.
Natural 1.
Oh my god. Okay, 6.
Okay, very good. all of you begin creeping forwards, and Poe, you what kind of weapon do you have?
A staff.
A staff. Poe, you accidentally clank a chandelier that was hanging in the darkness, and you see a large piece of wax with some blown glass on the top of it come tumbling down, and in slow motion all of you see this shatter, and you see glass go spraying in the direction of the chair, and sure enough, the moment the spray of glass hits the chair, the seat cushion lifts up, and you see this dripping fangs and a giant barbed tongue come flying out, and you see it goes flying at... I should have rolled 5 seconds ago so as to be
Real
more
quick.
dramatic.
I have an ability.
Poe,
You
you have an ability. Tell me about it.
So I have an ability that allows me to. I can use my reaction to deflect or catch a missile. Would that? Could I use that on the falling glass thing?
No, it is not an attack
No.
that was directed at you, but I love roll for initiative.
What was the thing that hit me, by the way?
A giant barbed tongue flying out of the mouth of the that opened up where the cushion lifted up.
All right.
And I'm guessing that's a melee attack instead of a ranged.
It is a melee attack.
Darn.
17 for Jim.
All right. 11 for Poe.
12 for Crow.
All right. Now that you guys know what order you're in roughly, give that to who had the 17?
Jim.
Okay. 17, Jim. Next. If you think you might have the next highest, say it out loud.
I'm the lowest, 9.
12 for Crocular.
Got a 3.
I'm not the lowest.
Nice.
Sorry. So 3 Veda, and then Enion was a little bit higher. Okay, very good.
9.
I got an 11, by the way. 11 for Poe.
Give me just 1 sec. Let me roll.
No problem.
Woo! Okay. Excellent. Jim, it is your turn. You have had your eyes peeled. You were waiting. You had your eyes sharp and your mind sharp, reading the situation. You are the first to react.
How far away from that thing can I get in this room?
You can try to rush past it, but right now Drake is kind of filling up the doorway at the far end of the room, and all of you 15 to 20 feet at most from this thing.
Okay, I'll just back up as best I can. I don't want to get closer to it, and I think I'll just reflexively cast Chill Touch at it.
Excellent. All right.
And that will be a 17 to hit.
That hits.
Yay! With doing 1 damage. I got 1 damage on the Chill Touch.
First blood. Excellent. Very good. This mimic to adhere to drag it in. Poe, make me a DC 13 strength check to try to prove stuck to this thing's tongue.
Man, I'm just rolling horribly today. 11.
11. Okay. Poe gets kind of yanked off his feet and is being dragged towards this mouth of the cushion.
Oh, no.
You see that it drags Poe all the way to the point head and shoulders are beginning to be pulled. the open maw that has been formed where the seat cushion has lifted up. Crocular, it is your turn.
Well, I'm gonna shoot it with an. You know, I'm gonna heft my short bow. I'm also going to back away from it, as Jim is doing, and just let loose a short bow arrow at it for 18 to hit.
That hits.
Sweet. And it's going to be 6 damage.
Excellent.
You send an arrow into it, and you see goo come oozing out of it where the arrow has pierced. Drake takes this cudgel, this mace-looking weapon, and he swings it at the mimic, grunting as it flies through the air. Woo! And you see a large chunk of goo, splintered goo, comes flying out as he
For a good little chunk of damage.
Oh.
Hey, hi, I'm here. So how far am I from the mimic?
You're
Not far at all.
5
Just a few
feet or
feet.
something?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can easily take a step forward and be within 5 feet.
All right. I will take a step forward. I am in 5 feet, and then I will attack with my banner staff.
Now, wait a minute, Poe. Your head and shoulders are currently in the mouth of has grappled you and dragged you forward and is in the process of trying to eat you. Sorry, we should have reestablished that.
Crocular is not the one who's going to pull him out, having a strength modifier of -2, but somebody should.
Okay, in that case, I will make an
Oh,
unarmed
get out.
strike using my feet to try and kick at it. I get
Okay.
to do this. Then, after my unarmed strike, which I'll just roll for now. Wow.
Okay.
Does a 10 hit?
It does not, unfortunately. You punch into the hard wooden exterior of the mimic.
Okay. So I'm going to expend a key point because I use the attack action to make 2 more unarmed strikes.
Do it to it.
Wow, another 10 and a 20, not natural, just 16 plus 4.
The 20 does hit. You punch the same spot over and over and over again, and on the third time, you feel a sickening crunch. Fist dents in.
4 damage, and
Okay.
I get to analyze it, which means whenever it misses an attack against me, I can use my reaction to make an unarmed strike.
Okay.
As well as I learn its damage resistances, vulnerabilities, and immunities, and condition immunities, but I'm not very concerned about that at the moment.
That's
When it
when
misses.
you learn all that stuff.
No. When you hit with an attack granted by your flurry of blows, you can analyze it, learning all of its damage resistances, damage vulnerabilities, damage immunities, and condition immunities. On a separate note, when an analyzed creature misses you with an attack, I can use my reaction to make an unarmed strike against it if it's within my reach.
So
You've already spent some key points to do this ability, and so now you need to know. I, as a DM, need to tell you those.
Yes.
Okay, so is immune to acid damage, and is immune to being made. But that's pretty much it. You know that it's a shape changer. You know that a lot of its abilities have to do with using it, biting, dragging people in, things like that.
What a revealing punch. Just
So
bang.
yeah, you do know that it's immune to acid. So You can see.
Okay, good to know.
I
Any-
will, I guess.
Your friend Poe
Neon.
is emerging from the shoulders down, punching
at this thing
that's eating him alive.
How big is this thing? What is it?
It's big. I mean, it's a big old, thick appearing throne there. So you know that this is a pretty beefy mimic.
Gotcha. I will give it a poke from an arrow, hopefully. How's a 20 unnatural to hit?
That hits.
And 4 damage.
Everything helps. You guys are wearing away at him. Veda.
Her first thought was to blow it away, but that was before it grabbed
Poe.
Poe.
Oh, yeah.
Frustrated at her foil plans, she snarls and takes a couple steps to reach it and has her rapier at and starts trying to slice into it down the front of the chair beside where Poe is to like make a gap for him.
Okay.
It's that plus that.
Yep.
18.
18 hits. Roll that damage.
Wow.
11.
11 damage. Nice. You guys there are several places where arrows are sticking out of it and goo is actively coming out. Several places where it has been deeply crunched, cudgel, and where a deep impact has been made from Poe's fist, where you can see that you are doing a lot of damage to this thing, but it's still fighting, still has a lot of life in it. Ivan. Do we still have you, Jared? Okay.
Can you
Say that.
You, Jared, and your.
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you now.
Okay.
What does Ivan do, seeing his friend being eaten
Shoulders
up?
Ivan's just gonna take he's not, but he's just gonna come up with his big heavy axe and take a heavy swing at this chair.
If you were a swashbuckler, you could say something like, "Some disassembly required." Did you finish?
Can you hear me? Okay, cool. 7 damage.
Excellent. You see that this thing is bloodied. It is you've beaten it to within half of its life for sure. Jim, as you bravely cower in the group of compatriots, faithfully wailing away on this, and yet it still has Poe bitten and is in the process. See that the tongue is kind of loosening up and rewrapping around his. It's trying to drag him in to swallow him.
All right, I'm gonna grab the billy club from my belt and wave it around and tell it to stop, and that's casting sleep on it.
Okay. So sleep puts the first number of hit die worth of enemies to sleep.
Oh,
right?
sorry. I guess I should check if that's in a circle of 20 feet. Is there a way I can hit that and maybe only him and Poe, and not everybody else?
You can. I'll say that you can cast it a circle of 20 feet. Interesting. Does it say that you have to center the circle on a point
Well,
that
it
you
says
can see?
creatures within 20 feet of a point you choose. Not that
Okay,
see,
you
but
choose. It doesn't say you
Okay, so I
see. It
can-
says you choose.
yeah.
So yes, I will
I go
allow
far.
you to cast it. Basically, affect into the other room somewhere.
Yeah.
And
that
how many hit
is
points worth of sleepy power do you apply?
5d8s. Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 3.
Do,
16 plus 12 is 28.
28. You see this mimic immediately, its tongue goes limp, and you see a large trail of drool begins coming out the side of its mouth, and it slobbering as it roars and gags on Poe, who is still in his mouth. But it is
Guys, he's
asleep.
asleep. Pull Poe out quick. I'm gonna
I
run
rush
out
over
and
to help pull Poe out. Although I am the weakest.
I'm gonna head over there.
You can lift up the cushion while everybody else pulls him out. And indeed,
You can do the help action.
up to
Pull him out, 'cause-
if you just
Yeah.
pull out, I'll say that there's a whole group of you. One of you is a Goliath, and the other one is a 6
He's gonna come out.
barbarian. You manage to extract.
Oh,
Is punctured and wounded. Poe, did
I
you
have
take
one more
any
thing.
damage from being bit by that thing already?
Which one?
Sorry, I
I
forgot
forgot to tell you that. My apologies. Let me roll that real quick.
so I have a thing also.
Okay. Poe, that was 10 points of damage from the pseudopod and it biting down on you as it's. Go ahead, Jim.
So should I just roll when I cast a spell for the wild magic surge? Anytime
Oh.
that happens. Okay.
You can roll on that wild
just-
magic.
I'll just tell you if I get a 1, and if I don't mention it, then it's not a 1.
Okay.
That'll be a quick way to do it. Okay, I didn't get a 1.
Okay. Very good. Excellent. You see Drake comes over to you, Poe, and he asks,
Fit to
"Adventure, do you need healing?"
I've suffered worse, but it'd be best if we continue expeditiously. I'm most sorry for the interruption.
Do not apologize. It could happen to anyone, but all of you, please, I must insist. It is
fighting him.
The more ruckus we make,
Rockets.
will come to us. Come. And he leads you into yet another room. This one, the walls are. And each of these cubbies appears to be filled with leather-bound tubes that have various different types of leather and linen for outer bindings. In the
You
center
mean
of
scrolls?
indeed scrolls of various types. Yes. Crocular is intrigued by this information. I see.
I'm not really the kind of magic user who's that into scrolls. Plus, if I used one to cast a spell, it would be destroyed. And this is a library. So maybe I am not that interested in scrolls. But I give them a look-see just in case there's anything particularly interesting.
You look, but do not touch. As all of you quietly shuffle across the room, you do see several more corners scurry away and hide in the shadows. As all of you get to
Main room. Get to the edge of the room.
you see that Drake on the doorknob and then immediately lifts a hand up and puts a finger to his lips and mouths the word He points to his ear. Everybody, make me a perception check.
I can't tell what you said.
You don't think he said
Yeah.
anything?
That was the point.
He
That would
mouthed
be an
a word.
intelligence check to figure out.
I got an 18.
Very good.
Recognize
Him mouth the word Knowles.
I got a 19.
I'm
So I
offended.
must know that
The
as
K is
well.
not silent.
I think those are G's that are not silent in this one.
I got an 8.
Gnoll.
Okay, so Enion,
what he's talking about.
everybody else just saw him mouth a word.
No,
All
but
of
I got a 18. Or
Oh,
7.
okay, very
What did I
good.
get?
Crocular
I
and
got a
Enion.
19.
What did he say?
You
Recognize
recognize
him.
mouth the word Knowles. All of you here at the foot of the door. Hey. And you hear quiet inside.
Poe leans over to Veda if he's next to her and says, "They're probably giant rats. Go talk to them."
When you say that, Poe, when you say that out loud,
I'm whispering. that.
eyes. Yep. When you whisper that out loud, Drake's eyes go wide. And you hear the
Of scraping claws.
claws suddenly scurrying on stone floor, and then you hear the sound of several logs slam into the door. You see Drake places his feet on the ground and puts his back up against the door, and he says, "Ivan, help!" And you
Ivan
see
helps.
the door begins to surge forward, pushing Drake off of it a little bit.
Are there any cracks through which arrows could be sent?
Not yet, but it is only the beginning of the round. Everybody roll for initiative.
Is the door
Natural 20. 23.
Or what?
does the door reach all the way to the ground?
Yes, the door does reach all the way. Well, no, there is about at least like a half-inch gap at the base of the door. It's not flush to the ground, because you could hear very clearly the sound of their snip.
Here in the room.
Anybody got above a 15?
I
I
got,
got
a
a
23.
23.
Okay.
rolling the same thing as me, Crocular. My dexterity is 17.
My dexterity is 17.
Ah!
I
Should
got
we do
a
a roll off?
12. So
Roll off.
All right, hang on. Roll off. We got a roll off here, guys.
What are we rolling? What are we rolling?
Roll a d6.
A
D6.
D6? Okay.
1. I heard more than one die.
Two. Oh my word. Great. Thanks a lot, guys. Now I have to erase you and switch your turn order because I had assumed. All right, so Crocular and Enion.
We actually turn into a like Voltron-esque
We
two-person.
Tips together like that.
All right, so who else had above a
We're
15?
in now.
Anybody else above a 10?
14.
Okay. And anybody else above a 5? And
Anthony,
anybody?
7.
What's
7? Okay. And Veda and
12.
Jacob? Okay. And
I got exactly 50.
15.
You didn't ask for 15.
That's fair.
No, he just couldn't hear me respond. I wasn't.
You guys are
planning
too good
that.
at procedural following procedural. Very good. What did these bad boys get? Oh, that's right.
Very good.
Crocular and Enion, because you guys both rolled above 20 and exactly the same, I'll say that if you guys do anything on this round, you can help each other. One of the two of you will be able to give the other the help action for free on something you do, and the other will still be able to have their full turn. I got to
Insane.
reward such things. Well, you're about to be disemboweled.
Amazing. Crocula can't wait. Is there so somebody was asking whether there was a crack that we could see these creatures through the door, like if they've got it partially open?
So right now they
Slam into the door.
and it popped open a little crack. So I'll say that if you want to make a luck check to try, you could try to time it between times that the door kind of surges and Drake is able to push it back.
I guess what I'm really asking is there a moment when I can act when I can see our opponents on the other side of the door at all?
Yeah, if you want to hold your action, then you can hold an action until the door gets blown. Or right now, if you want to try to wait and kind of pops open a tiny little crack, I'll let you make a luck check and try to time it. And if you fail the luck check, then you'll send off the spell, you'll burn the spell slot, but it'll go into the door. It's up to you.
Yeah.
If you want to hold your action, you can hold your action.
No, I'll do this luck check.
Okay, all right.
Should I roll a d20?
Roll a d20 or your intelligence to it.
Definitely dexterity.
Okay.
Oof. I'm going to go ahead and use my inspiration to roll that again.
Have a free D4 if you want to add that.
Not much better. Yeah, I'll use the D4 as well. Eesh. Okay, so 17 total.
That works. You manage. Drake is barely holding the door closed here. So every now and then it is surging open a good, 6-8 inches. So you kind of pop over to the side and manage to fire off a shot.
Okay, so
You cast.
this is only a cantrip, but I
Okay.
think it'll be very useful because it's infestation. Whatever creature I can see on the other side has to make a DC 13 Constitution check because I'm causing a cloud of mites, fleas, and other parasites to appear momentarily on it. And if it doesn't succeed on this Constitution saving throw, it will take 1d6 poison damage and it'll have to move 5 feet in a random direction, presumably away from the door.
Okay.
Nice.
You hear a loud, cackling, maniacal yelp and whimpering as one of the wolves becomes suddenly infested with fleas, and you hear the skittering sound of claws on stone as you hear it running away from the door, and now you only hear boom, boom, and snarling and scratching at the doors.
So it should make it a little bit easier for our team to hold it closed.
Yep. Very good. Enion, it is your turn.
Does that mean that there are fewer chances for me to shoot through gaps in the partially open door?
I'm not going to change the odds on that because you guys are going at the same time. In fact, if you want to say that you time it the same way, because Crocular was able to get it, you can use advantage on this one to try to time it at the same time as Crocular because you're both watching it together.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I'll go with the 18 to hit.
You time it the same. Manage to sync up and send your spells through, or arrows or whatever, through at the same time.
Come on. And oops, no, I rolled the wrong die. Haha. There we go. That's way better. 9 damage.
Did you roll to attack?
Yeah, it was 18.
Oh, that was your luck check to get through. You actually managed to get through. You do need to roll an attack to actually hit them.
Okay, it was not an 18. It was a 13.
That still hits. Very good.
Okay.
Roll your damage.
Sorry, no, now I need to do the attack, right?
Yep.
The attack is only a 12. Dang it, I keep rolling the wrong thing. It's a 14. I keep clicking the wrong button. I'm not using my dagger, I'm using my longbow.
Hit. Roll damage.
And now I'm going to hit the longbow damage button. There we go. 6 damage.
Very good. Excellent. You hear a yelp as an arrow sinks in. They are not as effective as they were before. Fortunately, there are only 2 of them scrabbling at the door and not 3. So, oops. Hold on one. Oh, okay. One of them manages to make a solid slam into the door. Drake's feet go sliding forward against his will, but immediately you see him just kind of thrust his hip
in his hips,
and the door goes slamming back closed in a split second. Veda, it is your turn.
She runs at the door, does a super cool looking sideways slide, lands lying down on the ground with her mouth and hands at the crack at the bottom of the door, and does the blow thing that I've now forgotten what it's called.
Oh, you're trying to do the gust of wind down through the crack.
Yep. Whatever doesn't go through is going to help the door stay shut, and whatever does go through is going to have some impact on them.
It's true.
Fair enough. So roll me an Arcana check to try to accomplish both of those things. Whatever you do will be helpful. We're just trying to see how effective this is.
She rolled a 15.
Okay, that's good. You see presses the palm of her hand down into the crack, and you see that there is indeed some amount of wind slamming into the door, curling back up. All of you feel this really strong wind that's low volume gushing over you, and you see a lot of wind down at the bottom. Jim, it is your turn.
I don't know that there's anything useful I can do right here. I will just ready in action. If I see one of them, I'll cast Chill Touch on it.
Okay. If you want to make me a luck check to try to time it, whenever they slam into the door and it opens just a little bit, you can try to make me
4.
Yeah, you manage to fire off the spell, but it slams into the door itself. Poe.
That is me. All right. I'm going to just run up to the door and help brace it.
Very good.
Probably using my staff to wedge up against it.
Ivan.
Is there room at the door then? If there's the Goliath and Poe, is there any room left at the door?
Yeah, you can lean forward and kind of put an arm on either side of the Goliath and, kind of put your chest against his chest and kind of leaning over Poe.
I'll do that.
All 3 of you can brace the door.
Crocular, Enion, it is Crocular. It's back up to you. Thing to sustain
that infestation, or is that just
a 1-round spell?
just a 1 round cantrip thing.
Very good.
I don't think I really have.
Is this the door we're trying to go through?
Yes, it is the door.
Yeah,
The
why
door
don't you
you're
let's
trying to go
open it
through.
and let us shoot these guys.
Yeah, so Crocular will say, "Okay, everybody, get ready," and like while these guys are holding it closed, we'll all stand by the door and get ready, and then let the door open. And when they come through, get them. So what I'm suggesting, and I'm trying to suggest this in just 6 seconds, is that we all take 1 round to get ready and hold our action.
Yeah.
So Crocular's going to use his turn to just stand by the door and ready an action, which is to attack whatever comes through the door next. And then once
Me
we've done
too.
that for a whole round, so that everybody but the last person who's holding the door, which would be Poen,
Goliath.
right? Poen lets the door go, and then as soon as they come through, the rest of us have readied actions to hit them with.
Good idea, Croc.
So I'm getting a, I am readying. I'm going to ready a Dissonant Whispers. So the first one that I see that comes through the door is going to get a Dissonant Whispers in the face.
Excellent. All of you on the wall, on the door, it is just, it's no contest. You can feel the slamming thuds of hitting the door, but with all 3 of you on
Budge.
open, all of you gather around, lift up your hands, prepare your weapons, draw your bows. Moment, giving the word, Poe jumps aside, and the doors burst open, and all hell breaks loose. The wrath and fear of those who are willing to hide no longer rains down upon these 3 gnolls. Crocular, what do you do to the first gnoll that comes through the door?
See, by the way,
For those of you who don't know, let me just describe real quick. You see a hunched over,
it's about 6 feet tall.
You know, if it were to stand up, it would look like it might be more like 7. But you see a sentient hyena wolfman looking thing
With lots of
scraps of leather,
ballistic
beads, and tattoos. You see that there are leather and bits of bone forearms and its shins, and it has large, cruel-looking clawed hands. It doesn't have a weapon in those hands, and you see forward with large ropes of saliva dripping out of its mouth and a crazed, savage, hungry look in its eyes. Crocular, what do you do?
So it's going to need to make a DC 13 Wisdom saving throw.
Excellent. As a gnoll, I can tell you,
its strong suit.
and wouldn't you know it, it rolls a 19. Sorry,
in that
bud.
case, it takes
It's a library roll. No, of course
It's a
gonna
library
be
roll.
educated.
That's fine.
It's been reading books.
Picture
so it's
books.
going to take half of this.
Okay.
7 points of damage on the gnoll
Very good.
from Crocular.
Excellent. You see that this is the one that hurt. You see that it's got an arrow of Enions sticking out of it, and you manage to fire off these dissonant whispers, twist its head up, and cry out in frustration and anger, and you hear some tendon as it breaks some of its own bones in anguish reacting from this spell. Enion.
Enion is going to use his action surge to make a second attack. He's also going to use.
So you can. You haven't used an
I
action
guess
yet
I
this
could
round.
kill all of them with his one action. Let's see if
We'll
that
see,
happens. He would like to do a disarming strike, disarming attack on. Wait,
Have a weapon in its hand.
You see that there is one
That's all right.
behind it. Okay, all right.
He's trying
okay,
to
I'll
take
go
the
for the
hand
one
off.
with the. I'll go for the one behind it.
Okay.
Does a 20 hit?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so he uses a superiority die. Adds 4 to his damage of 10. So 14, and if it fails I think 13, 13 strength saving throw, it is disarmed.
It fails. You see. Do you use your bow to do this?
Yeah, longbow.
Nice. So you basically make a called shot and you shoot him in a major artery of that he's holding this bow, holding this scythe, and the arrow slices through. You see a huge spurt of blood, and he drops the scythe to the floor. Veda, it is your turn.
Action
not yet.
surge.
Action surge.
Does a 24 hit?
It does.
I will do a distracting attack on the front one.
Okay.
So I will add 8 to my damage. Nice. Finally rolling some damage. Of 8. So 16 damage, and that next attack on that knoll gets a advantage.
Okay. Very good. You through the neck, and you see that it is on death's door. I mean, you need to hit it, and that's it. Veda.
Okay. She's got like a really limited repertoire. So she had a readied hunter's mark for whichever one was going to be like in arm's reach. And so as soon as the door opens, she has her rapier in hand, and she lunges and slashes and lunges back.
Okay. If you're going to attack the one with that has been marked,
You will have advantage.
on that attack.
You tell me if I can.
Go for it. Yeah.
Readied.
He's the closest one, and he's the one that logically you would have. So make
Excellent.
me an attack roll with advantage.
14, 11, 19.
19 hits. What does it look like when you've gotten so many killing blows? This is great. What does it look like as you finish this? Here.
I'm ashamed to say I wasn't really paying attention to what the damage was before because I was writing my move.
No, that's okay. He has so
I'm gonna
little
go
hit
with-
points. He has so little hit points. You
just
make a move and finish him off. I was just giving you a chance because you had the honor of killing him. So
Thank you. Okay, so my blow comes in with such strength that it tips him on his side. So for a moment, he is sideways in the air with his gross taloned feet impeding the in between us and the guy behind him. And then he
Very
lands
good.
on the ground, and there's 2 noises of thunk and 1 noise of splat.
excellent. As he hits the ground, you see the mimic wakes up and a tongue
grabs the knoll.
And he begins trying to drag that knoll body into his mouth. Jim.
Wait, the chair mimic?
Yeah, you guys are still in
It's so noisy.
mimic. It's been asleep for a couple of rounds, but yeah.
But we woke it up.
All hell has
Didn't
broken
see that
loose.
coming.
Let's see. Okay, so I think there's still one that's there, but he's in bad shape, right?
There's two. There's
Okay.
Hurt pretty badly,
and one that
I went the hurt pretty badly one.
a large number of angry red welts all over his body, where he has been bitten by fleas and centipedes and spiders.
The one that looks like he's in worse shape.
Yes.
I'm gonna cast Chill Touch on it.
Very good. That's the one who there's a scythe on the ground.
Oh, there's a 14. Yeah. 14
yeah, 14 hits.
Okay.
Easy.
Let's see if I can roll better than a 1. Woo! 3 this time.
Nice. 3 cold damage.
Necrotic.
Necrotic. Nice. You smell the putrid, rancid smell of dog roadkill coming off of, and you see a large chunk of the flesh of his cheek and neck begins to kind of simmer. It's like old rotten flesh. Poe.
Gross.
Great. How many gnolls are left?
There are 2 gnolls. One has a large amount of blood gushing from his arm and a scythe on the ground next to him, and a lot of necrotic flesh on the side of his face. The other one is covered in angry bug and insect and arach.
All right, I will attack the moldy flesh guy. I'm
Excellent
going to
choice,
attack
sir.
with my. I'm going to attack with my banner staff. Wow. 11.
11 damage.
11 to hit.
That does.
Darn. I'm just rolling horribly on this. And then, I can actually use my bonus action to make an unarmed strike. Does not require key points, so I'll do that.
Very good.
Wow. 7.
Oh, even less. You managed to
key
punch him in a. There's a bunch that he has tied with leather thongs to one of his forearms, and he lifts it up, and you punch him in the bony forearm.
Yeah. I'm going to use my key point to attack 2 more times. 20, 16 plus 4 to hit, and another 16 plus 4, 20. So that's fortuitous. And then 4 damage for the first attack, and 4 damage for the second attack. 8 total.
Fit.
I do. Is he dead?
He is. I just wanted to give you a chance. Tell me what
it looks like.
Of course. My first banner staff attack is an expertly performed smack that he probably deflects. The second one, I just let the banner staff drop and try and hit him expertly on the side. He also deflects that. And then I just give up and just grab him by the eyes and gouge him out.
With the force of a tiger claw, you plunge a thumb into each of his eye sockets, and he drops to the ground. Ivan, there is one mangy, flea-bitten gnoll who is looking down at the bodies of his 2 fallen pack mates. He looks up with a bloodlust murder into your eyes.
Ivan charges at him and rolls a critical hit, natural 20.
Nice.
And that's, let's see, you roll
Do
the dice
double
twice, is that how it goes?
That's right. You roll your damage die 2 times.
A 12 and a 12. Wow.
Holy wow. Okay.
27.
me, what does
it look like when in a single blow you send this guy back to the maker?
I think he just. I think it's just swift and clean.
I
And
think
this is an
you've got an axe though, and there's not a lot of room to run it side left. Let's say you bring the axe down right next to his neck, and you just split him fully down the middle, and his carcass falls into two pieces.
Gross.
It's like
Yeah.
chopping firewood.
And he goes, oh! Like when he chops firewood.
Drake kind of drops the cudgel into his pouch and looks at all of you with wide eyes and stunned silence for a moment and says, I suppose brick and rock ain't the right guys to do the job. You don't need me. Come on. It's in here.
Stay away from this mimic over here.
Ivan, you can take your axe, swing it sideways into the mimic and finish it off. You see the tongue jolts up into the air for a split second and then falls limp side. Before you see a room that has high ceilings. The room is circular. And along the walls are stacks of bookshelves going high up into the darkness. And you see that there is a ladder with wheels on the base that is clamped to a track that goes around and follows the wall. And zipping back and forth on it, you see a halfling in golden robes and a small flying bird that is going back from a stack of books and is handing him books. He is filing them away. If none of you first, Drake does. I was just giving. I didn't know if one of you guys was gonna jump the gun. Drake steps forward and clears his throat. Freezes and turns and looks at all of you and says, "Shh," and disappears. Shimmering cloud of shiny motes. Anybody who wants to make me an Arcana check?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
13.
Ooh. 18.
15.
So, Enion, you recognize of poltergeist or haunting or something like that. He's not a ghost. You would suspect that maybe a powerful wizard, or maybe it's just a mage's assistant who you're seeing the memory of. We saw him for a split second, and he disappeared into a shower of sparks, not fading motes of light. So you suspect that you've seen some sort of poltergeist, some sort of echo of a figure from the past. All of you kind of look at each confused, and Drake kind of looks at all of you and says, I don't know what to do unless he shows up again.
Let's just
everybody keep your eyes peeled. Yeah, everybody search. So everybody who wants to can make me a perception check to try to find the Veiled Vial volume.
Investigation?
You know what? If you've got investigation, and I'll say that you can use that to try to make sense of which books are where, and you're trying to find it by putting the pieces together and get a sense for.
Okay.
So you can either try to spot it with perception.
These books.
You can try, but I'm telling you, it'd be tough. But you can try.
I got a 20 and a 1. 21.
I'm gonna use a nothing because she got a 21.
So
Okay.
I got a 16. Let me know if I failed.
Did you
I got
intimidate?
5.
No. This is perception. 16 perception. And if I failed, there's something I can do to. So tell me whether I failed.
Totally intimidate the boss if no one else is going.
You did fail right at the moment that okay, so time works weird in D&D land, right? As all of you see that Veda
I got an
with
18.
she still beats you. Veda with a sharp eye shimmies up the and kind of pushes off a little bit, and you see her as she's zipping by, snatches a book out and hops down, and you see indeed she has a book made of what appears to be
Flesh.
and on the cover of the book is a glass. It looks like it's built into the book, which doesn't really make a lot of sense because that would mean that inside of the book is or British or something, but the front face of it is also sealed in glass. So on the front of the book, looking into the book, you see that it appears like there's this maybe like 2-cup volume glass space abscess into the book that's filled with a in which is floating an eyeball, and you see that eyeball is whipping around and looking at each of you in turn.
Ugh, that's not right.
No.
I know you said to keep your eyes peeled, but this is. I feel like this is a bit too extreme.
Somehow the eye looks even angrier at you.
Inian starts sort of sneaking towards it with his dagger, reaching forwards very slowly.
No, Enian, stop! You'll break the glass. Jim offers a sack to Veda so she doesn't have to touch it with her bare hands.
It's a good
Just
idea.
put it in this bag.
She accepts.
Yeah.
Also, it won't be able to see us from in there.
Drake steps forward and says, that is a dangerous book. Perhaps I should...
Yeah.
Who's holding it right now? Jim?
No, I just gave Veda a sack.
Yeah, Veda
Oh,
drops it into the sack.
Out of the sack.
Yeah.
Okay.
She drops it into the sack. She looks at you. She looks up and down, and she like tosses it over her shoulder very cavalierly, and turns around and walks back in the direction that y'all came from.
You see
No, I got this.
everybody else who's still in the room make an insight check.
Insight. Hey, there's a roll. 18.
4.
11.
4. What site did I?
Who had the highest? Jim with an 18.
18.
You notice that Drake was experienced fire when Veda walked away from him with the book.
I'm gonna attempt something, and this is probably not going to do anything at all. But Crocular's attitude towards Karen is that she is so last year, totally passé. Karenite work is way overvalued in the marketplace right now. It's aesthetically bankrupt. There's nothing interesting going on there at all. So he's gonna walk like near to where this book is, I guess, even though it's in the sack, but he is just broadcasting too cool for thou artistic disdain with body language and maybe some commentary on the side as they walk. And that, something like intimidation, or if there's anything, that wants to come out of this book and tangle, like the first thing it's going to see is somebody who thinks that it's just so overrated.
You actively podcast these psychic dis vibes. Make
In an
me
intimidating way.
Yeah, sure. I'm trying to decide as a DM what the die roll is to psychically intimidate a book in a sack. I would say make
That's
me
definitely a pizzazz check.
Yeah, let's call it a pizzazz check, arcana based. It's an arcana skill,
Arcane
pizzazz
charisma
check.
Where on my sheet is pizzazz?
It's
Yeah, roll me an
right
arcana check.
between Moxie and
I was
That's
hoping this could be intimidation, but okay.
If you have je ne sais quoi, you can use that, but I doubt it.
So I'm a warlock. My whole thing is charisma.
You can make this a charisma based
ghosts
check.
and demons and stuff. That's my world.
Front
I'm trying to
the book,
charisma-
Matthew.
I'm
Front
trying to
the
make my
book.
charisma useful. Oh well, so it's a 16 intimidation check versus whatever's going on here.
MC Crocolot. Okay. You give the book a good psychic smug snubbing and feel a sense of satisfaction that you've put the book in its place in your mind. Very good. You make your way back, I take it, to the main armory room that all of you start. I'm going to say that again as though I speak primary language. All of you make your way back through the 3 rooms to the armory room where you first were equipped. And
As we pass the knoll or knoll
Noel.
corpses, Veda's going to look for things to swipe.
Yeah, excellent. Search the bodies. Make me a. If you're trying to do it surreptitiously, you would need to make a sleight of hand check. If you're just searching them, then just roll perception to try to search the bodies. Anyone who wishes to do so may.
I will.
$16.
13.
Jade got a 20 and I got an 8.
Okay, very good. So Veda, you leading the charge on that, and everybody else kind of rolling kind of represents them helping you. You're really the one there. Your mouse is sniffing the bodies and stuff. You do manage to find a scythe. That scythe is a weapon and not a elven, master blade, but that's a large, dangerous, powerful arm to be wielding. One of them has some leather armor, and you do find that they have, between all of them, about 32 pieces of gold. In a couple, each of them has a few gold. All total is 32, and they have what appears to be a bunch of teeth in a little glass jar, and a whole bunch of rat skeletons. A single rat skeleton in a sealed, blown glass orb. So I will give you stats for that kind of stuff later. Right now, you don't know exactly what it is.
Orb of Skelerat.
Well, the
Would you
orb only
wanna-
has a single rat skeleton.
Would you want to take teeth and a bottled rat skeleton?
I'd take a bottled rat skeleton. Poe would, at least. That sounds like something he'd mull over.
Well, Aaron, it is up to you. Do you take all the stuff and put it in your pockets and sort it out later? Or do you hand stuff to others as you find it?
Of us are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 32 does not divide easily among 7 people, but she'll give each of us 4 and keep 4 herself of the gold pieces. And then, yeah, she would take the other stuff and deal with it later. It can always be dumped along the way if we need.
Okay.
Then you got a nice
So-
sack to use right now. And she has a nice sack she can put it in.
Yeah, we'll say that one of the gnolls has a sack on them that you feel free to take
Oh, I
a
gave her
gnoll
one
sack.
earlier.
It's woven together from some sort of hide that's got interesting kind of color variation on it, and then you realize, oh, a gnoll hide. They've made another gnoll. How? I'm not going to think about that right now. Very good. All of you make it back to the room with Drake. And he turns to all of you as you're putting your weapons back into the barrels and says, I'm truly impressed. All of you are quite competent, even the small ones. And he kind of pats you on and says, I would not have expected to see one so sickly fight so... Oh, sorry. And he kind of goes over to you, Poe, and places a hand on your chest where you were wounded and cure light wounds spell on you, and you recover 7 hit points.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Does that put you up to full?
3 points fun.
Okay, so you look good. You might still have a couple of nicks and scratches, but overall, okay. He looks at all of you and says, I'm glad to be of service to the Highview Sanatorium and to any purposes to defeat Karen. If ever you find your need of my assistance in the future, please, you know my name, you know my face. Make yourselves and your... Until then. And he kind of bows deeply to all of you. Sorry, my dog yanked my earbuds out. It bows deeply to all of you. Walks out unless one of you stops him.
Thanks.
He
Mr.
goes.
Yeah.
Veda would do this, but maybe one of the other guys would be like in the story a better person to do this. She sets down the book just in case it can hear, and then goes up near him and murmurs, if it's really you, when we see you again, how will we know? Looking for a passcode or something, some secret handshake.
He takes your finger and your hand, and he draws in your hand a symbol. And he says, it's in my hand, and I will know that it is you.
Oh! Yoshka knows what that is.
Oh.
Veda shakes her hand and says, draw that in mine and we'll know it's you. And like looks at him suspiciously and then steps away.
In fact, I think he... Yeah, that's good. He nods to you and turns and goes back into the library. You hear his on the steps as he goes back up.
All right, guys, let's go find Brick and Rock and get rid of this weird book.
Yeah.
All of you... What's that? Go ahead.
It's just like Crocular's art.
Yeah. Ugh.
My art is way better.
They look about the same to me.
You're a Philistine?
I'm
proud of
I
it.
don't know what that means.
The bigger words to the smarter people. Either way, they're not very suited for us. So anyway, we should give it to Brick.
Yeah.
All of you are walking down the hall. This is the dialogue that we hear being exchanged between all of you. You manage to hustle your way back upstairs. You go back up the sort of utility stairwells that run along the face of the sphere. The glass is the outside. You see that the store
subsided.
substantially.
I'm not looking
And
at-
you can actually see, even down here on the lowest level, you can see a few stars up in the sky as there's only light sheets of rain and strong intermittent gusts of wind kind of slapping up against the underside. But for the most part, the up. As you make your way back up to Brick and Rock's offices, you see Master Thimbleby is still in the room working on the Dreamatorium device. You see that the number of scrawlings on the floor have multiplied. Like every square inch of the room is covered in arcane symbols and sigils. You see that there are tables of values with lines struck through some of them. You see that the little clockwork assistant has a bucket and a rag and is wiping down some of the places where he has written things. You see that he has been having his little assistant wipe the floor so that he can keep working. But he's working furiously. As he sees you all walking past, he says, "Oh, back so soon? Oh, you had fun. You had fun." And he points at Poe, who has obviously still some visible wounds, and says, "You're back, though. You got it, right?"
We think so, yes.
What do you mean you think so? I mean, you got it, right? How many books have an
I'm
eyeball in it?
Oh, well then yes, we did.
Well, I don't know
Unless
how
there
many
are more
have
books with
eyeballs.
eyeballs.
There's probably
Okay.
at least one more. Because where's the other eye?
That's a fair point, yes.
Oh,
You see that he gets terrified as you start talking about this other book with with another eye, and he's like, "You're trying to get us to get. Just take the book to Rock. Go, go."
come on, let's go. Wait, where's
Uh,
Rock?
It
I don't know
could
where
be
Rock is.
worse.
I thought he was
There could
here.
be like 5 eyes. So
As all of you hustle down the hallway, you come to Rock's and Brick's office that they share. And you see that Rock has a number of books open, several scrolls that he is scribbling and taking notes on. And when you get there, he jumps up from his desk and runs over to you and holds out an open hand for the Veiled Vial volume. He hasn't spoken.
Does anybody have any way
What?
to tell that they are not mimics? Because I don't think Veda does, but she would want to before turning over the bat.
Ian
You-
will.
Sure, you could make an Arcana check.
I mean, do we know enough about the nature
Brick.
of the world to know that mimics don't like talk and stuff? They're like animals.
Yeah, but you're all
Can we make
patients
a
in a
nature
mental
check?
hospital, so the fact that Veda is being suspicious might just be on brand. So I'll allow it.
Ian will poke him with his finger instead of a dagger, just real hard, right in the ribs.
Rock's feathers puff up. And you got a 5, Veda? Yeah. As you really have no way of knowing. You don't know enough about mimics to, tell that his eyes are purple, and so he's, there's you don't know of a tell. But yeah, so Enion, you jab Rock in the rib cage. His feathers puff up. He opens his beak at you and hisses, and his eyes furrow, and he appears to be quite angry. This is not a look that you're used to seeing on Rock. In fact, I've never seen him this agitated, this upset. And his kind of feathers puff up, and he begins lifting up his wings at you a little bit.
You seem
Is there
agitated. Are
any-
you a mimic?
Jim wants to look around and see if he sees anything weird, like gnome frog shepherds or anything like that.
Okay, very good. Make me a perception check.
It's like 5. Yeah, 5.
Yeah, you squint your eyes and start looking for anything weird. You see a quill on the table that moves for a little bit, and then you realize it's just the air from Rock, like suddenly puffing up and moving, sweeping his wings back a little bit. Somebody else asked me a question just before. Yeah.
Ivan says, "Rock, what do you always tell us about what to do with our bad feelings?" Some referring to some question that we all know. You know, those things that they've told us time and again in therapy.
Sure. You see Rock kind of settles down quickly. All of his feathers flatten, and he looks at you and says, dispassionately analyze them and compartmentalize them until you're able to come to terms with them in a holistic manner.
Oh,
Exactly
that's
what
him.
Rock typically says. And then you all remember, oh yeah, that's why Rock doesn't tell us what to do doing group therapy very frequently, because he talks like a normal being that has relevant things to say. But he is quite brilliant.
Poe nudges Crocular sort of in the side and says, "See, he's the kind of person that should be using the big words. I have no idea what he said, and you didn't either, probably."
Who's giving him the veiled vial volume, or are you guys continuing to hold on to it?
I think it's really him. I think we can give it to him.
Brick, is it?
You see Brick enters the room just a second before you say that, and sees all of you and goes, "Oh, thank goodness! I you found Drake, Templeton, not Tim. Sorry, hang on one second. Forgive me. I should know. Hoodlum, you found Drake, and he helped you. I'm so glad. What a good guy." You guys okay? He comes over to Poe and kind of inspects what's left of your wounds.
Oh, I'll be fine. I think Veda has the book, though. I think that's the important.
Oh, good, you got it. Good. Well, give it to Rock. I can't do anything with it.
And Drake wanted you to know that he operated in good faith, and he helped us out.
Understood. That seems to make sense to Brick. Like the fact that Drake would say that, that makes perfect sense to him. So he files that away meaningfully.
Ivan looks at Rock and says, "But do you know what you're doing?"
My dear boy, do any of us know what we're doing? I'm afraid we're all quite out of our depths when it comes to Karen. And yet, what other option do you have? Do you wish to study it yourself? Do you wish to make your mind pliable, vulnerable enough to delve into shark-filled waters while covered with 1,000 cuts?
I'll
Poe
leave that to
sort
you.
of smiles sheepishly and says, "Yeah."
Silence, fool! He
I've
said.
already
He fires
done
off at
that.
Poe.
Poe misunderstands him and says, "Shh," to Crocular as
You see Rock turns and looks.
You can tell.
He's starting to get truly impatient and agitated.
So I mean, Crocular at this point will, after hearing that thing about shark-filled, watered, and covered in cuts, he says he will genuinely suggest that because I have already given myself over completely to a evil power. I won't say evil, but like an extraplanar entity that is, comparably
Karen.
strong. Karen,
Yeah.
it may be the case that I wouldn't be affected if I were to study the book myself or try to help them or whatever.
Roll me a persuasion check
Sure.
with advantage.
While you're doing that, Veda was around, but I wasn't for any prior Rock interactions. Is this on brand for Rock?
We actually have not had that much interaction with. It's really stoic and taciturn 99% of the time. He prefers to let Brick do almost all. Hence the whole little clockwork goose thing that he got turned into. He's brilliant. very methodical and logical, but a bit like somebody on the spectrum, very savant, but he's an Aarakocra. He thinks very differently, and he's a bit extreme even for an Aarakocra. So sometimes he struggles with
normal mortals. But
so this whole seeing him and talk much at all, no, it's not common given the context of how much you know him. It makes sense that when he gets upset, you would see this side of him.
In a psychiatric environment, does it make sense? Does it seem right to our characters that one of our authorities would call one of us a fool?
He called Poe a fool.
She's suspicious of him or not?
Yeah, I mean, you realize he called Poe a fool after he mouthed off in the middle of a very, very tense situation, and where Rock seems to be off. Normally, that's one of his hallmarks, right? Is that he seems to be very dispassionate, unflappable, even. But to
be upset.
So, what if we just didn't look at the book and stopped doing the dreams?
Oh no. Jim wouldn't like that.
Rock kind of turns to you and looks over at Brick, and kind of clearly annoyed that he's having to explain himself, but then he takes a deep breath, and when you see Brick kind of make
okay
for them to ask questions, just answer his question. And Rock kind of takes a deep breath, closes his eyes, adjusts his shoulders, and says, "My dear young man, could we ignore the issue now? There is no telling when or how Karen will strike at us next. Clearly, she has managed to establish a foothold, some sort of authority to land a barb within us, or perhaps a way to capture. Perhaps she is privy to some form of scrying or some perceiving through a veil. Who knows the manner of perversion available to her? But one thing is established, and there is a pattern. For us to ignore it and merely keep you out of the dream would be a death sentence, an invitation to wait in."
Feels like she's more in that book than in the dreams. Just seems like she'll be coming one if we just break the crystals. I mean, we only met her when we went into the dreamscape. She's not here.
And so you think that it is safe here?
Not with that book. She seems more here.
Rock
Kind of squints his eyes. Say that last thing again. Never in the
I'd
dreams.
rather have her in the dreams.
I'd rather have her in the dreams.
I'd rather have her in the
dreams. Rock kind of squints his eyes at you and says, "You have been. What good is a warning to one who forgets it? I warn you."
Ivan gives him a strange look.
I warn you. Defy me now at my
direct command,
and you will do so at your peril. Give me the book. And he holds out a taloned hand. Brick kind of
looks over to Brick like.
By the way,
go ahead.
The outcome of Crocular's roll to see how convincing he was at talking to Brick and Rock about Crocular sort of suiting up and going in to the book. It was a 20 plus 3 is 23.
Very good. For a split moment, you saw him look at you and kind of give you a slight nod. And then at that very moment, like Poe said some asinine thing and upset him and kept charging forward. So at this point, you're kind of standing there like, I think that was a yes. I'm trying not to say or do anything to ruin that yes, but so far I've got an okay. It seemed like because you asked him like, hey, can I help you? And he gave you a nod. So Rock has looked at Ivan and said, you have been warned. A man who forgets a warning. What good is a warning if it is forgotten? And he holds out a clawed hand saying, give me the book.
Brick, I know we're the crazy people. This seems crazy. Does it seem crazy to you? Have you seen the book?
I mean, no, I haven't seen the book before, but I know about the book. So, important thing to know, these are valid concerns, okay? This is good self-preservation. We've talked about this. Sometimes maladaptive strategies are self-destructive. So, proud of you for taking care of yourself, Ivan.
Sorry, for some reason, Brick is difficult to do tonight. He said,
I hear your concerns.
he kind of puts his hands together and puts them on his chin.
Ivan, you feel like Book of Veiled Vileness is unsafe thing to be bringing into a safe place. Yeah? Is that is that what am I hearing this?
Yeah. That's gonna bring Karen in more than the dreams.
Well, we may not be the smartest people, but me and Crocular both very much agree that studying the book or letting Rock study the book would be very helpful for restoring the dreams.
And important to point out, Ivan, is Veiled Book of Vileness. There is other book that is Unveiled Book of Vileness. Definitely very bad idea. Nobody's saying that good idea, okay? But Veiled Book of Vileness.
That's where the other eye is.
And slaps you and holds up a finger to his mouth. It's a. And he and Rock both kind of freeze and take. Sorry, I need to roll a d6 here. Man. Why do you make me do this to you? 6. Oh my gosh.
I'm on the floor bleeding out like I'm not getting up for a while. That was painful.
You see Jim say, what about the other eye? And Brick just reflexively backhands him and just pimp slaps him so hard that he drops him to the ground. Rock, let's kind of lock eyes with each other, and then you see their eyes kind of darting around as they're both frozen and listening. After a second, you see them both just begin to breathe again, and you realize that they hadn't been breathing for a few seconds. And you see Brick just kind of look at all of you and just kind of do this number like, no, no, no. And he says,
They don't see Ivan while that was happening. Ivan, unable to stop grumbling, walked over among the jungle plants and laid down in the middle.
There's a mat. There's actually in the corner, if a napping mat, if you want to use that.
He really likes being around plants, so those plants that you described at the very first scene, he would go for that. That'd be
And they're painted on the walls, and there are a couple of little clay ceramic, like maybe 3 or 4 foot wide, 1 foot deep, little shallow, little mini gardens. One of those and have a little siesta while everybody's yelling and arguing. But yeah,
Beta makes her way over to Jim and casts Cure Wounds on him.
Brick says,
as I was saying, and not interrupted or pausing in middle of saying at all, there 3 V's. Veiled Vile Volume. This book doesn't have, real spells and stuff for people to be. This only have summaries of evil things called veils.
It's like the Spark Notes. Like the Spark Notes.
I get okay. I will take your word for that. Not really into a lot of books. I did fully oral communication training for my accreditation. So, Veil, we good, buddy? We good, guys? Okay.
Everybody, Brick is trying to make a persuasion roll against you. I guess everybody, you can roll wisdom saving throw to resist being
Beta's
convinced
got
if you
the book.
want.
I'm persuaded this
I'm-
is great.
I'm ready to hand it over.
I'm gonna give Rakatorov some inferior artwork.
There's
Stacks.
of parchment,
Coal,
little
nibs
nibs of
of
coal, ink quills and stuff. If you go into a corner,
No, I mean, I am going to open up this book about Karen and help Rock understand how what's going on here is not really that cool or interesting, and like just help him take care of it. I'm going to be
Okay.
his tour guide to this like crappy stuff.
sure.
You know, it's not very good. It's not really that.
I'm gonna go
worthwhile.
slumming in the Book of Karen.
Yeah.
So Veda,
I-
how
I-
about
I'm-
it? Is Veda? How about it? Is Brick convincing you? Is your heart? Is the needle moving on your heart?
I have 8 to withstand that persuasion. I'm willing for like I don't know if that's enough, but I'm
No, it
willing
doesn't
for her to
over.
have been pulling out the book all along.
Yeah, it
So it's no
doesn't
longer-
over. If it doesn't override your free will, but you do hear what Brick's saying. Like it's the veiled vial volume. So get the sense that he, with sincerity and some amount of authority, is kind of allaying the fears that this is it poses potential danger just by being in the room.
Okay. While he's been talking, she's been pulling it out of the bag, so it's no longer wrapped up. She's not clinging to it tightly enough that she would withstand Trucula ripping it out of her hands.
Okay. So
Here's the book.
and you see Rock lay eyes on it, and you see kind of a sigh of relief from Rock as he was, concerned you didn't actually have it, or concerned you had gotten the wrong book, or
But you see a sigh of relief.
and Rock extends a hand forward to receive it from you. Do you give it to him, or do you continue to hold it?
Because Trucula's been flipping through it and showing him gross pictures.
Oh no,
No.
I don't actually have it. You still have it.
Okay, yeah, I would give it to Brick. I would not give it to Rock.
Okay. Yeah, you see Rock is standing there and kind of holds out a hand for it, and you're several feet, and you just kind of lock eyes with him and just passive aggressively don't move a muscle, don't acknowledge his desire for it. You see one of his eyes kind of twitches a little bit as he's like clearly every shred, every fiber of his being wants to snap at you, and Brick just kind of steps forward and puts a hand on it and puts a hand on your shoulder and makes eye contact with you. It's like, is this okay? Do I have your consent to take this out of your hand? He's like moving the book in slow motion between you and Rock. So the book kind of awkwardly floats between the two of you. Rock grabs it, snatches it, and turns away and places it on the book. Places the book down on his standing table, and he places the palm of a hand down over the eye, and you hear him mutter in a strange.
If you speak
Celestial.
I speak
No.
infernal and abyssal. Do those count?
Okay,
No.
you speak abyssal. Then after he finishes the celestial part, you hear him mutter something else. I'll tell you in private since nobody else knows what it is. But you hear him mutter something in celestial, something in abyssal, and you see that eye that was floating around inside the book, suddenly eyelids kind of grow out of nowhere from behind it and seal it up, and you see it kind of disappear into the inky blackness of the back of the water that it's floating in, and you see the book kind of crack half an inch, and he opens, flipping through. He beckons to you, Crocular, to come over and says, "This may actually be quite advantageous to have you here, strange and insane though you may be, Crocular. For you do possess knowledge of strange things, things that would cause madness and tears in others. You have seen things, have you not?"
I've seen things that you can't imagine, but I imagine them very well because I have a very good imagination.
My boy, I don't understand what manner of braggery you are about. I concede to you that your dreams differ from my own, that I perhaps do not even have the capacity to think such mad thoughts as you. But tell me, what do you see behind madness?
Sorry, between the madness. What?
He asks you, what do you see between the madness? Roll me a history.
Between the madness and what?
Roll
Between
me
the
a history
madness.
check.
Fair. History's not great.
Oh, do it with advantage.
Oh, no, but I rolled so bad.
Did you roll a 1?
I rolled a 1. Are you sure you want
Okay.
me to roll with advantage?
No, that's too perfect. I can't take such a delicious gift away from you. Yeah, you
I
recognize.
have no idea what he's talking about at all.
Recognize that Rock is actually secretly, clearly an acolyte of your dark strain, because he has asked you like the question that only people in the know about. So when we get back next week, we want to hear all about the thoughts racing when he realizes that Rock has effectively gone Hail Hydra into your ear. Thank you. We're so glad that you were able to join us for yet another installation of the Starfall Collective Jade Odyssey. Please join us next week when Crocular makes a brand new friend and mentor in the Fellowship of the Dark Insane God. Been a pleasure having you with us. See you next week.